Warpstone!
My name is Riggs, and my friend Mak and I started a Total War Warhammer 3 head-to-head campaign where I'm playing as Settra of the Tomb Kings.
All bow before the Imperishable.
And he is playing as Zhao Ming.
Dragon Lord of the Iron Wind.
We quickly grew and developed our massive empires, built up alliances and trade agreements, and eventually we both emerged as the two global superpowers. And as you might have expected, we went to war. It all began when I invaded Mak's outer colonies. We had a couple of engagements that we thought were pretty important.
Yeah, no.
They were just a few skirmishes, minor tests of strength in comparison to what was about to go down. Our war lasted over 70 turns and took weeks to finish. So this led to one of the greatest and deadliest campaigns we have ever played. But without further ado, we are more Warpstone, and this is the War of Ruins. Things started with me sailing over and sieging Dread Rock, capital of the Dragon Isles. And although he had some pretty good units there, I was confident that I could win.
I think this is going to be a tougher battle for you than you might think.
At the beginning of the battle, I noticed our spawn points were really close together, so I wanted to try something a little risky. And yeah, here goes nothing. If we manage to take the walls before his reinforcements arrive, we'll also take control of his towers.
Nani?
And just as planned, his towers started killing his own men. All right, now you guys come sandwich, come sandwich.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
We did lose one scorpion due to being trapped behind the gate. Was the gate not broken?
I don't know how he got in.
But we eventually routed his reinforcements back off the battlefield and took the Dread Rock. That was a hectic battle.
I thought I was going to win that at one point, but I forgot that that army was just shit.
Yeah. Taking Dread Rock was a great first blow for us. It prevents Mak from locally recruiting here and denies him easy entry into our lands.
No. Not in my house.
Dude, I dumped probably like 40k into Dread Rock alone. That is just so bad.
During my initial push, I started working really hard on developing super positive relations with Thorgrim Grudgebearer because, as you can see, he to make a pretty nice ally. So his enemies shall be my enemies. But that's okay, because it's not like Sylvania will ever attack me anyway.
But wait, there's more!
Remember, viewers, whenever you join an ally's war, sign a treaty with someone, or basically do anything remotely positive for anyone, be the greedy bastard I know you could be, and extort them for as much money as possible. Alright, now back to the Eastern Front. My armies are definitely improving. However, their potential strength will never be as high as Grand Cathay's. So, I'm hoping to do as much damage as I can, as quickly as I can, to stifle Mak's growth and power potential. Alright, well, there's no point in stopping this push when we got all the momentum. You know, I'm pretty sure Sun Tzu jotted that down in that one book of his at some point.
Oh, you had an extra hidden army.
What have I done?
Mistakes were made.
I don't see how you win this, I have to be honest. Settra's just such a god.
Bringing sky junk and great cannons, Mak has a huge artillery advantage. So my plan was to take cover behind the trees. It was not a very good plan.
Let's sit there and take it.
Dude, look how much loss. You took barely any losses. I should have just rushed right at the beginning.
A few moments later.
Yeah! Dread Rock! It's mine again! Yeah! God, this has just been such a fucking bloodbath. But the assault has been stemmed.
My invasion further into Mak's territory was going very well, with settlements conquered in the north, along with the entirety of the Dragon Isles, an extremely important province with a lot of strategic value. However, with these victories, my confidence grew, maybe a little bit too much, and I Leroy Jenkins'd my best lord along with his army into a trap. Settra and company were promptly cut off and slaughtered by Zhao Ming. Mak was then able to retake the Dragon Isles, and in doing so, grinded my assault to a near standstill. This army up north is not the best, but I'm still hoping it could do a lot of damage here because Scrap Towers is another settlement that Mak has put a good deal of money into. Also, during all this, Mak started trying to turn Thorgrim against me. So I started bankrolling his war crimes against the Greenskins and Skaven. He will love me and me alone. Because my army is hidden, Mak accidentally put one of his armies in a vulnerable position by using the forced march stance. This means that his army won't be able to retreat and his units will be tired at the start of a battle. Although capturing Scrap Towers would be nice, I decided to press this advantage instead and hopefully take the settlement next turn.
Didn't know he was there. Or maybe I'll just pimp slap his ass right here. It's slightly in your favor, but only slightly.
Are you sure about that?
Tombguard are a lot worse outside of Settra's army, I guess.
Well, that was a disaster. My army got wrecked, even though his was in force march, and I couldn't even kill scrap towers.
Finally becomes strength rank 1.
UF?
I have.
Oh, jeez.
All right, well, I'm not gonna lie, we just stacked a few L's there, so we had to abandon Pig Barter and leave it in ruins. However, while Mak blitzes into my land in the north, I decided to sail a few of my own armies across the Sea of Dread, hoping to retake the Dragon Isles, which at this point is just basically Osgiliath. Sadly, I had to abandon Ruin's End as well and focus all of my strength in the area on defending the Plain of Bones. I put way too much time and money into the Fortress of Vorag to lose it now. Plus, if Mak takes this province, he could spread his armies out and deprive me of any choke points. At this point, I really wanted Thorgrim to join my war against Mak, so I decided to give him a provincial capital and $16,000. Worth it.
Wow. All right.
If you've been enjoying the video so far, please consider liking and subscribing for more Warpstone.
More Warpstone. Now.
Now back to the campaign. So my armies here are really solid, and I think he's making the same mistake I did by being overconfident and attacking too aggressively after a few wins. And with reinforcement armies nearby, I really think Mak should have waited till he was full strength to attack.
Regardless, I just got my... The Tomb Guard performed so much better that time. Why don't you just go eat and we can keep playing?
I'll just eat while we play. We'll be right back. I'm gonna go get...
And like that, the pendulum shifts yet again, and I'm back on the attack. I feel bad for the citizens of Dread Rock.
Now I gotta divert forces that way.
Along with every settlement in the area being devastated by the constant change of ownership, the land itself is also a deadly swamp that drastically lowers army movement range and even makes the army attrition if it's not in camp stance. We spent a few turns mustering forces on either side of no man's land. I then decided to pull back just a bit, consolidated all my armies in the surrounding area, and made a stand at Ruin's End. And while Mak was distracted with that up north, I began a sneak attack down in the south. Now let's get back up there.
Get off my lawn.
All right, well, let's see how this goes. I'm kind of nervous.
Oh, it's a night battle, baby. I need to win this in order for my assault to continue. You need to win this to stop my push.
At the beginning of the battle, I kept his flying cavalry away with my Ushabti great bows. My infantry then charged up to cover them. The front line turned into a mosh pit, which favored my tanky units. And as more of my reinforcements came onto the field, things were looking good for me. But then, disaster struck. Zhao, Ming, and other Cathay heroes began systematically hunting down and killing my own lords and heroes. However, I still had a large numbers advantage, so I charged everyone forward, and this was thankfully able to trigger a rout.
That was bloody.
Although we won, we certainly sustained some heavy losses to say the least. But you know what? That's all right. At this point, my strategy to win was not based on the strength of my armies, but instead, I was hoping to win off the relentless tide of disposable units I'd keep sending. Honestly though, having units that you could absent-mindedly send to their death send to hold the line, but still inflict decent damage is a big advantage in this war. Our battles used to be one army versus one army, 20 units against 20, but the situation has quickly escalated.
I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
We are now going to have consistent 4v4 full stack showdowns. This means 80 individual units to manage, and battles reaching up to 10,000 units total.
Could have been buffing my main line more, and then it was just so much to do. It's impossible to... You have to remind yourself it's impossible to do it all at the same time.
But with that win, in spite of the massive losses, the balance of power shifts back into my favor, and we advance yet again.
Once more unto the breach.
All right, let's resume this sneak attack. Well, so much for a sneak attack, but at least he didn't ambush me, so I can still fight and hopefully win this battle.
Dragon Isles change hands once again.
Snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap.
Mouth of Ruin has seen so much combat. My heart's pounding.
Recruiting new units in the late game for Tomb Kings is so easy. I mean, look at all those slots. I can recruit up to 17 units directly on the front line in one turn. I finally crossed the Maginot line because, well, why not? And we had about 8 armies each on either side at this point. However, we obviously still left a few armies that do get out for the Dragon Isles. And would you look at that? The Dwarves have finally decided to come to my aid like 30 turns later. Better late than never, I guess. A few turns have passed. So, as you might have guessed, it's time for the Desolate Ruin, formerly known as Dread Rock, to change hands. Again.
I mean, we should fucking keep a tally.
Instead of aid, my Dwarven allies kind of just stayed back and provided moral support as I attacked Mak myself.
I'm very afraid of those Ushbati with great bows. Heart's pounding! just a game. It's just a game, remember? It's just a game. Oh, it's fucking life. This is what I live for.
Much like last battle, I tried to do as much range damage as I possibly could at the start. However, I got greedy and overextended myself, leaving my units really stretched out and unable to support each other. This wasn't awful, but really not ideal. So I decided to retreat all my units off the field to fight another day, and with more advantageous positioning. Yeah, this was the biggest f***ing mistake I could have made. As more and more units left the field, the morale of my remaining units tanked, and because they are undead units, they all deteriorated into nothing.
Oh god, that's so bad.
That loss was devastating. 4 of my armies completely wiped, with Mak's army still at full strength. And when I needed my dwarf allies the most,
King stands alone, not alone.
Go hit him!
over the end turn, Thorgrim and his boys rushed up to the front lines, covering my retreat and literally saving my empire. All the money and settlements I gave to them finally paid off in a major way.
1 week later.
My logistics are getting better, but the only way that I think I can really break this stalemate is taking and controlling the Dragon Isles, unfortunately, and having another recruitment.
Meanwhile, the dwarves held the line, and in doing so, gave me the time I needed to rebuild my armies and try again at another assault. Now, this battle ended up going a lot better for me. Yes, his artillery did tear our ass up a bit at the beginning,
Holy shit. Look how much damage. Oh my god.
but we pushed forward and started dealing damage ourselves. And after a really intense battle, we even managed to lose everyone. But hey, at least Settra survived.
I can't believe it, honestly. I really thought I killed him.
And honestly, this was still sort of a win for me. It forced Mak to retreat his armies ever so slightly, and I was able to quickly replace my dead and advance. Well, my undead dead, technically. Re-dead? Whatever, you get the point. Oh yeah, and we took Dreadrock again.
Damn.
We have finally managed to yet again threaten Mak's forward operating base of a province, which is called Nablar Country. Taking these settlements will stop his frontline recruitment and all but spell doom for Cathay.
This is gonna be a big fight.
Yeah, your armies are pretty solid, but so are mine.
And it's gone. It's gone. It's all gone.
All my Tomb Scorpions and my Oshotzi had full health and altar ammo.
Not anymore, you don't. Poof. Sorry, yeah, that's gone.
Well, because of the army losses penalty, I prematurely lost a lot of great units to disintegration. So to prevent this going forward, I need to have my best units fight first, with the weaker ones reinforcing. At least I still have you, Dreadrock. Mak sailed over and took Bitter Bay after all my armies died. He's surrounded though, so that's all he's gonna get. Thankfully, I was able to recruit rapidly all over the area, so I mustered up a sizable defense just in time for Mak to cross the swamps. And with some luck on our side,
Oh, did it get what?
we managed to ambush and eliminate one of his advancing armies. Then we fell back to the fortress, pretty confident that we could defend it. And as we went back and forth, waiting for some weakness to exploit, it finally happened. The biggest turning point of the war so far. A few turns ago, I set a war coordination with Thorgrim to attack the settlement of Flayed Rock, provincial capital of Nablar Country, Mak's FOB. And over the end turn,
Level 5 settlement brought down to level 1.
Mak was forced to fall back to deal with the Dwarven attack. But when he was forced marching his armies away, again, over the end turn,
It's fucking dwarves caught my army here.
this was Grand Cathay's darkest day.
I lost 3 armies, and I lost Flayed Rock, which is insane.
With Mak massively weakened, I seized the chance to advance my armies and spread them out into the mountains. I fortified the Mouth of Ruin and the Dragon Isles. And although Mak still had a lot of fight left,
I didn't hear no bell.
and sure as hell made it difficult, I eventually forced him back into his mainland. And here, Mak made a final stand at the border of his empire. Settra and 3 of my other best armies stayed back when I attacked Mak initially. We were fighting all over the battle map, and like usual, it was a massive bloodbath all around. But in the end, I was sadly outgunned, literally. And eventually, my first 4 armies were destroyed.
Oh no. Anyway.
But now, it was Settra's turn. Once again, there's no way to avoid Cathay bringing some serious hurt. Mak was still able to kill many of my men. But you know, therein lies his biggest issue. Those fuckers were dead anyway. And eventually, Settra the Imperishable put down Zhao Ming and his forces. And with the Iron Dragon's death, the last real defense against me was gone. And Mak's land was soon open season. My army spread out and quickly began to conquer the rest of Grand Cathay. And there we have it. After 150 long turns, Settra has finally taken his rightful place as the undisputed world superpower.
I am Settra the Imperishable. I do not serve. I rule.
Thank you all very much for watching. This is the start of a new era for our videos, so please like and subscribe if you want more. Also, why not share this video with a buddy that you want to challenge to a campaign of your own? Or you could join our Discord to find someone else to play with if your friends are lame. And finally, huge shout out to our patron Degenerate McChicken for the support. Leave a comment on what matchup you want to see next, and we'll see you soon with your next dose of more Warpstone.
More Warpstone!